Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Gonna tell you why Bob Dylan is a dead man. His birthday, the way it lines up with this year's Super Bowl in Minnesota, which is his home state, it couldn't be any more perfect in terms of his planned demise. And as a reminder, after I talk about why Bob Dylan is going to be killed for this upcoming Super Bowl, and that means he could die before the game or after. But I'm going to show you, no doubt, why he is going to be a sacrifice and tribute to this game. After I show you that, I'm going to remind you what happened to Denny Green, the former Minnesota Vikings coach, who was killed the day before they opened the stadium that will host Super Bowl 52. And I'm going to also show you how Prince's death, which I predicted months before it happened, how it's also connected to this planned Super Bowl. Remember, Prince performed Super Bowl 41 halftime show. He performed Purple Rain, the only halftime show in the history of the Super Bowl that was in the rain. So, Bob Dylan, he's going to be 76 years old. That's a fateful number at the time of this year's Super Bowl. And from his birthday to the planned game in US Bank Stadium, it'll be his 257th day of being 76 years old if he's still alive. 257 is a very fateful number in history. Jackie Kennedy visited the Pope 257 days before the death of her husband. JFK also visited the Pope 144 days before his demise. Bob Dylan's born on the 144th day of the year. That's the number of the Jesuit order. The Jesuits control the world of rig sports and so much more. Here's what's up with 257, though. 257 is the 55th prime number, and both 257 and 55 have to do with sacrifice. Blood sacrifice equals 257. Sacrifice alone, gematria of 55. And here we are in the month of December. We often see a lot of celebrities die in December. And that's not coincidental. December equals 55, like Satan, like Santa. You know, it's just a reshuffling of the letters. Also like sacrifice. Blood sacrifice also has gematria of 76, Bob Dylan's age. He'll turn 77 if he makes it next year, but I don't think we're going to see Bob Dylan make it to 77. I think he's doomed. Minnesota has this gematria of 110 from the Super Bowl to his, what would be 77th birthday, 110 days. I had to laugh that he has 38 studio albums. Minnesota equals 38. Remember, Prince equals 38, Chanhassen 38. That's also a number that has a lot to do with death and murder by numbers over the year. Death, killing, and murder all equal 38. Murder is also 83. The song Murder by Numbers by The Police came out in 83, about how it's as simple to learn as your ABCs. Here we are talking about letters and numbers. So, you know, I just couldn't line up any more perfect for Bob Dylan for being the next sacrifice for the next planned rig sports championship. And we see this again and again. Every sports cycle, celebrities drop dead in connection to the game. Last year on Thanksgiving, it was Carol Brady of the Brady Bunch at age 82. New England Patriots equals 82. It was 74 days from the game. Number that has to do with killing. Plus a whole lot more. Covered that last year. I said, here's another sign that the Patriots will be winning the Super Bowl. But look at this. Let's talk about Denny Green, another Minnesota celebrity, Vikings coach for a long time. He died 155 days from his birthday. His birthday was February 17th. He died 155 days later, July 21st. The very next day, they opened up US Bank Stadium to the fans. And I covered this then. There were two things that were interesting about that. US Bank Stadium equals 155, as well as 38, like Minnesota, number connected to death. Notice Minnesota's also 52. They're hosting Super Bowl 52. From Denny Green's day to death to the September 11th opener for a lot of teams, including the Vikings, was 52 days later. And he died the day before they're opening the stadium that's going to host Super Bowl 52. You see, that's a ritual sacrifice. And a lot of times people are ritualistically murdered for events that are to come or events that just passed. So, there's Denny Green, how he fit in. Now let's talk about Prince. Prince died on April 21st, and 2016 was a leap year. That was the 112th day of the year. The 112th day he died on. He performed at Super Bowl 41, right? Super Bowl has gematria of 41. Super Bowl also has gematria of 112. And Prince's death was connected to every sports championship. I talked about this the day of his death. Not only did I call his death, but the day of his death, I showed how his death was connected to the NBA season, the Major League Baseball season, and the Super Bowl. And I said even possibly last year's because it was in Houston, the Super Bowl. But check this out. The 112 thing, Prince dying on the 112th day of the year, on August 10th of that year, the baseball player Prince Fielder retired with 319 career home runs. And his father, Cecil Fielder, also retired with 319 career home runs. Prince died 319 days after his birthday. And in satanic gematria, killing equals 319. Consider that Prince Fielder retired 112 days after Prince's death on the 112th day of the year. And it was just before the 112th World Series, which I guaranteed in spring training the Cubs would win. And later that year, when they showed when the World Series would be, I showed why they would win in Game 7 on November 2nd. 11/2, 112 for the 112th World Series, which is exactly what they did. And I said the Cubs were going to win because it was all about 108. Major League equals 108. The Cubs hadn't won the World Series for 108 years. Prince Fielder's retirement was on August 10th, 10/8. All part of scripted ritual, you see? So Prince dies on the 112th day of the year. Prince Fielder retires 112 days later. Cubs go on to win the 112th World Series. And consider Prince Fielder played up in that region of the country. Milwaukee, right next to Illinois, Chicago. Prince also had the song I Would Die For You, recorded in 83, released in 84, when Purple Rain came out. He spelled it for you. And when you write a number in here, it doesn't really have a gematria value. The reason it shows 4 here is just because it's the way the search works. But, like, for example, I'll just do it backwards. U is the 21st letter, right? If I put a 4 here, it's not going to make any difference. It's just the way this calculator's programmed. But Prince's album is I Would Die For You. And think about it. And this is the way he wrote it on the album in 84. Like he knew about texting and instant messaging. But he died on 4/21. Use the 21st letter. I would die for you. You see? And him dying at 57, that's how old he was. That number connects to entertainer. It connects to rock star. We just saw Chuck Mosley die by the numbers at 57. But it also connects to World Series. Connects to NBA Finals. It has an obscure connection to Super Bowl. Notice when you write out 57, it sums to 131. Also 49. Check out Super Bowl, you see? Special number there. Represents the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, plus more. So anyway, Prince dead in Minnesota. He's hosting the state's hosting Super Bowl 52. We've seen some Minnesota celebrities already drop dead. They have clear parallels to this planned game. Bob Dylan. You know, bigger celebrity than those people yet. Bob Dylan. You know, he couldn't be any more doomed than with these numbers right here. So when's he going to die? You know, that becomes the next question. I'm not going to speculate on that right now. I'm just showing you the way this works, how it's worked all throughout history, how many people have been killed by this code. If you watched my video about lecturing the people at the grocery store this morning, I almost wanted to get into some murder by numbers, but like I said, those people that I was dropping the knowledge on, you know, they were already just so depleted to hear that their games were rigged. So, this is what it is. This is how this world works. And Bob Dylan, you know, he's a perfect example to look at. He did that 60 Minutes interview years back where he told Ed Bradley, who's now dead, he said he sold his soul a long time ago. And Ed Bradley said, well, who'd you sell your soul to? And he's like, you know, you know. He was telling people what's going on in the industry. Just like a number of other people have said what's going on in the entertainment industry. You want to be in the world of entertainment? You want to be a big star? Well, you got to give up your rear end exit hole, or you got to give up people around you in your life. Murder by numbers, or essentially anal rape. And Bob Dylan knows about sacrifice. Go listen to Highway 61 Revisited, you know. Remember 61, that's a special number that represents God. He's got the lyrics about how God wanted Abraham to sacrifice his son. That whole Highway 61 Revisited album is totally biblical. Remember Christian 61, Christmas 61, Church 61, Jesus 61, Cross 61. Last year, or earlier this year, it's almost last year now, February 22nd, 2017, statue emerged of Kanye West on the cross in Hollywood. Hollywood and Kanye West equal 33, like Jesus on the cross at age 33. So, see who all gets taken between now and the Super Bowl. It'll be a lot more than Bob Dylan, but Bob Dylan no doubt marked, being the Minnesota celebrity, with that being the location of the game. And just watch as each celebrity is reported, measure from the birthday to the date of death, decode the name. You'll see. Same patterns again and again. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.